Wake up in the grind, clock ticking, 20 minutes flat, freedom main-handed, knives built with.
What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of 20-Minute Freedom Project. I am your host, Josh Lopez, and this podcast is for people who are done waiting for motivation, permission, or the perfect moment. We talk about ownership, discipline, and building a life that is earned, not handed to you. And today's episode is when everything hits at once. So let's get into it. All right. And like I said, today's episode is for the season you don't post about. You don't see it on social media. The week where the car breaks down, work is on fire, your sleep is trash, your patience is razor thin, and the one person you love the most looks at you like, what the heck happened? And you're standing there thinking, I'm freaking trying. But everything is hitting you at once. And here's why this matters. Because the way you operate when life is calm, it's easy to stay on track. But the way you operate when life is stressful, everything is hitting you, and it starts to get really heavy, that's who you really are. This is what you do when you're under pressure and you can feel yourself getting pulled into an emotional decisions, like panic decisions, reactive decisions, the ones that make everything freaking worse. Not to mention the negative talk that you have to deal with inside your head. And I want to say something early because a lot of people don't understand it. When everything hits at once, the goal is not to win the day. The goal is to hold the line long enough for you to gain the clarity and you can come fully back online. Because you cannot make clean decisions when you're emotionally flooded. And science backs that up. When you're under stress, your brain shifts. The systems responsible for thoughtful top-down control in the prefrontal cortex get completely out of whack, while emotional and habitual responses get stronger. So if you ever wondered why you start making stupid moves when everything piles on, it's not because you're weak. It's because you're human. But you're not here to stay human in the average way. You're here to win the day, dominate, and become the best version of yourself. So today, I'm giving you the framework for those moments. The moments where life tries to turn you into a melting down reactor. And by the end of this episode, you'll have a playbook you can run in real time. When everything hits at once, your nervous system goes into threat mode. You feel it in your body, tight chest, your breathing gets shallow, your heart rate increases, you get irritated at the smallest things, you have racing thoughts, and in that moment, you're tempted to do what I call pressure venting. You could text something you shouldn't text. You say something way too sharply. You buy something to feel in control, to make yourself feel better. Or you quit something important. You just absolutely blow up. Maybe you disappear. You make a decision just to stop the discomfort. It's like spinning the color wheel in the game Twister. Over and over. And each time you spin that, you keep hoping that things are going to get better. But ultimately, you just get yourself in a more twisted situation than you were before. You think you're solving the problem, but you're really just trying to end the feeling. And that's why emotional decisions make things worse, because the decision isn't coming from clarity. It's coming from pain relief. So here's some research for you. Under pressure, your norepinephrine, I always mess that word up, but bear with me, and your dopamine surge and can rapidly impair the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain that supports planning, judgment, and self-control, while strengthening more emotional habit circuits. Stress can also shift you towards more of a reflective control in cognition and behavior. Faster moves, not thoughtful moves. I think you get the idea. And when stress combines with time, pressure, decision quality drops drastically. So if you're under stress, under time pressure, and emotionally charged, you're basically in a perfect storm that is prepared for bad decisions. That doesn't mean you don't act. It means you act in the right order. When your emotions are loud, your decisions must slow down. You're not delaying them forever, and you're not avoiding them, but you're slowing them down enough that you are in the driver's seat again. Write this down, memorize it, or maybe tattoo it on your hand so you can see it. Stabilize first, and then decide second. If you don't stabilize, you'll decide from panic. If you decide from panic, you'll make bad decisions and create bad consequences. And none of us want that. Because if you create bad consequences, you're increasing the pressure on yourself. And then you wonder why you feel like you're drowning. So we're going to stop that cosmic loop right now. This is what to do when everything hits at once. Not when you have time, not when you feel like it, because we know you're not going to feel like it when everything is hitting you at once. But you're going to do it when it's happening. When you're in the thick of it, there are 7 steps. And the first step is stabilize your state. You do not fix your life while your nervous system is on fire. First, you have to stabilize it. And I'm not saying you need 90-minute meditation retreats or you have to go to get away from everything. I'm saying you need to bring your system down from a threat mode enough to actually have a rational control of your emotions. Because under that stress, that top-down control gets impaired. Here is the operator protocol, and it's simple. The 90-second reset. Sit or stand still. You are going to inhale through your nose for 4 seconds. And you're going to hold it for at least 2. You can hold it up to 4. Sometimes that actually helps more than just the 2 seconds. And you're going to exhale slowly for 6 to 8 seconds. And then you're going to do that 5 times. If you want a reason to know why this works, longer exhales stimulate the parasympathetic brake. You're telling your body, we're not dying, we're okay. Then you're going to say out loud, it's going to feel a little weird, but it matters. I am not making big decisions in this state. The combination between that sentence and the breathing is the first step to you taking back control and calming the storm inside yourself. Now, some of you are thinking, Josh, breathing is not going to fix my problems. You'd be right, because breathing isn't going to fix your problems. It fixes the person who is making decisions about the problems. It gives each one of us time to center ourselves, to take back control from the troll that has come out from underneath that freaking bridge and has hijacked our emotions. And that can begin to change everything. Step 2 is shrink the battlefield. When everything is hitting you and coming at you all at once, your brain tells you everything is urgent. And that is rarely the case. Excuse me. So we need to think like a general on a battlefield. We need to shrink the battlefield and define the focus of what really needs to be addressed right now. You might have 3 different threats, but you have one that is of most importance to deal with at this moment. So you're going to make 3 columns on a paper or in your notes app on your phone. The first one is critical. The next one is important. It matters, but not today. The third is noise. It feels urgent, but it really is not urgent. Now ask yourself this question. What actually breaks if I do nothing today? And you have to be brutally honest. Not what makes you uncomfortable, what you think matters right this moment, or what people think, or what people might think. What actually breaks? This is how you stop time pressure from turning into self-destruction, because stress plus emotions plus time pressure is where your decision quality drops drastically. Most things can wait at least 24 to 72 hours. Most things don't need you to panic. They need you to plan how to handle them. The ones that get everything done and don't seem like they go through anything don't widen the chaos. They compress it. Step 3, protect the non-negotiables. This is where most people collapse. When life hits you all at once and it gets super hard, they throw away their sleep, their training, their faith and quiet time, the quality meals, the routines that they built over time, communication. And then they wonder why everything is spiraling. Not only is everything hitting you at once, but then you are not holding to your standards. And at that time, it's not like you're trying to raise your standards. You have to protect your minimum standard. I call it the minimum effective standard. It's the smallest version of your habits that keeps your identity alive. Say, for example, you normally train 60 minutes. When everything comes at you, you do 20 minutes, but you do it. Another example could be you normally would read and journal. When life hits, you read for 5 minutes and you write 3 lines. You got to remember, it's that you're actually doing it. Another one might be you plan tomorrow. But when life hits, you write the top 1 to 3 moves in the first action. You are keeping your minimum standard for your identity. Because the goal while you're in this pressure is not perfection. The goal is continuity. And there's research behind this too. Stress can impair working memory, attention, and execution. The exact things you need for discipline. So don't ask yourself to be Superman or Superwoman during the storm. You ask yourself to be the person that puts their head down, steady, committed, and unwilling to self-abandon. Step 4. Stop making forever decisions in the right now. When you're emotional, everything feels permanent. You say things like, "This always happens to me. I can't do this anymore. I need to change everything. I'm done. And sometimes you make changes you regret for months. So here's the rule. No permanent decisions while you're in an emotionally flooded state. If you're angry, don't send that message. You're going to draft it and you're going to save it. You're going to revisit tomorrow. If you're overwhelmed, don't quit the program. Pause, simplify, then reassess. If you're anxious, don't blow up the relationship. Communicate a boundary, then breathe. Because stress can strengthen emotional and habit responses and weaken top-down control. Which is exactly why emotional decisions feel right in the moment and wrong later. This is why I love the way Daniel Kahneman frames fast for slow thinking. The fast system is automatic and reactive. The slow system is deliberate. Here's a short line from his work that I want you to sit with. The confidence that individuals have in their beliefs depends mostly on the quality of the story that they tell themselves. When you're emotional, your brain tells powerful stories, and you believe them. Those that rise and perform at high levels don't worship their story. They test that story and make sure it's accurate. The next step is step 5. You're going to move one piece. After you stabilize, shrink the battlefield. Focus and protect your minimum standard. You do one more thing. You move one controllable piece, not 10, not everything, one. In the game of chess, when you get checkmated, you get into check the first time. You can't move every piece on the board. You have to move one. It's either you're going to block or you're going to move. But you have to make one. And you have to remember that action creates calm. This is where people get it wrong. They want clarity before they even do any action. But a lot of the clarity comes through action, especially when you're feeling overwhelmed. So ask yourself, what is the next smallest action that creates the biggest relief? Maybe you're going to make one call that you avoided. Pay one bill that has been hanging over you. Set one boundary you keep dodging. Clean one space that makes you feel stressed or has been bugging you in the back of your mind. Write the 3-step plan instead of thinking about it all day. You don't fix the whole storm. You control the next steps. The next step is 6. You're going to communicate like a high-performing operator, not like a victim. When everything hits you at once, your relationships usually feel like they're going to have a problem next. So here's a script for your family, maybe your spouse, business partner, team, anybody. I'm under more pressure than normal right now. I'm handling it, but here's what I need, and here's what I'm doing. That's it. You're not dumping, you're not blaming, and you're not disappearing. You're just taking complete ownership. And if you need help, this is a perfect time to ask for it. But remember, you're not pawning things off on someone else. You'd be shocked the amount of pressure comes from not communicating. A lot of chaos is just unspoken expectations that are colliding. If you reduce the friction by making your reality clear, you'll be surprised how much lighter you will feel. The 7th step is the 24-hour review. When the pressure waves pass, you don't just move on. You review it. Because if you don't review it, you're going to repeat it. The review is simple. You're going to ask, what hit me? What did I do well? Where did I react emotionally? What will I do next before it gets that far? And then you add one adjustment. One, not a life overhaul, because this show isn't about motivational high. It's about building an operating standard that you can live by. Let me paint this out in a way you'll recognize. You wake up already behind. You've hit the snooze button way too many times. Maybe you didn't get to sleep at the right time the night before. Your phone has pages of notifications, texts, and missed calls. There's a problem at work. Your body feels tired. Someone needs something from you. And the first thought is, I can't do this right now. That's the moment. That's the doorway. The average man or woman panics. A high performer stabilizes. You need to breathe, slow down, and say, I'm not making big decisions in this state. You write down what's critical. You delete the noise. You protect the minimum standard, your water, food, movement, prayer, quiet, and then you move one piece. And what happens after that? The storm doesn't instantly disappear, but you stop feeding the storm. That's the difference. A lot of us aren't losing because life is hard. We are losing because we keep adding fuel to the storm or the fire with emotional decisions. We don't know how to let it go and move past it and stop adding fuel to the emotional chaos. The people that it does not affect are the ones that stop adding fuel. Here's your freedom challenge. For the next time everything hits at once, I want you to run this exact sequence in the moment. The 90-second reset. 3 columns: critical, important, and noise. Minimum effective standard. Choose 2 non-negotiables. 1 small action that equals the biggest relief. And a 24-hour review. And here's the rule. No permanent decisions while emotionally flooded. If you get nothing else from this episode, at least remember the rule. It will save you from so much stress and emotional damage from decisions. I want you to hear me on this. When everything hits at once, you don't need to become someone else. You need to return to your standard. This is not about having an easier life. It's about having a stronger operating system, because storms will come again, over and over and over. And the next time one of those storms come, you're not going to panic. You're going to lock in and operate. If this episode helped you think clearer, gave you a new way to handle an emotional storm, act or take ownership in a way, share it with someone you care about. That's how this message spreads. And if you haven't yet, leave a review for the show. It tells the platforms this message matters, and it helps this message reach more people who need it but haven't found it yet. Remember, freedom is not found. It's built one decision at a time, even under pressure. Good morning, good afternoon, or good night. And I will catch you guys on the next one.